welcome to this week's Hodgepodge. Our shout out to Joyce on this side of the pond. Of course, this is my first recording of the Hodgepodge, I believe, since my stroke, and we're getting a little bit better. Still have a long way to go, as you can tell, that I'm still working on the different sides of my body, but still working fairly well. And I'll talk about that here in just a second. This week's Hodgepodge says, for number 1, things you should do in June, and it gives a list. Go on a road trip with your best friend, pick fresh strawberries, host a garden party, take a morning run, treat yourself to a flower bouquet, spend a whole day hiking, discover a new coffee shop, try a new ice cream flavor, read at least one book, visit a farmer's market, or make a swing for your home and visit a new city. Which things on the list do you most want to do? Of the activities mentioned, which one holds the least appeal? How many on the list will you attempt in June? What's one thing you'd add to the list? Well, I can't really imagine what I would add to the list. Okay, and for me, I don't really want to make a swing big enough to hold this house. This is make a swing for your house. While my house is perfectly fine sitting on the ground, so we don't need to put it in a swing. Just a little way of joking there. I would love for me and my child bride Suzanne to just get in the car and take a road trip somewhere. We can't do that right now because we have to stay close to the doctors and close to where our kids are right now. We don't want to get too far, but a road trip would be great. Go visit some of these smaller towns, not the big cities. We don't want to visit it talks about visiting a new city. We don't want to visit a new city. But if you get out of the car, you get out in the car, you go to some of these smaller towns, you go by their Chamber of Commerce or their local museums. There's a lot of interesting things that you can discover just by going to these smaller museums in these smaller towns. Texas is just loaded with small towns, and they lose a lot of tourist traffic to the big cities because everybody wants to go to the big city, but there's a whole lot more fun in the smaller towns, a whole lot more interesting things if you're interested in history that you can learn in these museums in the small town if you just do it. Okay. What's something you could do today to feel more peaceful? Well, what I could do is, if I was trying to be peaceful, is sit on the bank of a river, a stream, a creek, whatever, big bowl of strawberries, and just watch the water go by. Whether I'm fishing or not doesn't really matter because I get all my fishing done in the first 5 minutes. Throw my my hook into the water, hold onto the rod, hopefully. Of course, I might throw my rod, I just never know. Throw my hook into the water, and I'm done. Well, once the hook hits the water, I'm done as far as fishing is concerned. But sitting on the bank, just peacefully watching the water go by is wonderful. Okay. June the 7th is National Chocolate Ice Cream Day. Are you a fan? Swiss, mocha, Rocky Road, chocolate chip, peanut butter and chocolate, or just plain old chocolate? What's your pleasure? Well, for me, I like plain vanilla. I'm a very simple person. I like plain vanilla. If we're going to have chocolate, it'll be chocolate with the chip in it, not chocolate chip, but just plain chocolate with chocolate chip. You know, vanilla. I can't even talk anymore. Vanilla ice cream with chocolate chip in it is just perfectly wonderful. If I came with a warning, what would it say? Probably this guy can't talk, if you notice the last paragraph. Possibly his bark is worse than his bite, but also, if you're a doctor, never ask a redneck that's just had a stroke to squeeze your hand as hard as he can, because as several doctors at the hospital learned, that I'm hardwired inside for when somebody says, squeeze my hand as hard as you can, to actually squeeze it as hard as you can, as hard as I can. And, you know, I heard several doctors in the hospital. I saw one occupational therapist go behind the screen shaking his hand like this because he made the mistake of saying, squeeze my hand as hard as you can. Don't do that. You know, and that's a warning for you. You know, if I came with a warning label, it would probably be his bark is worse than his bite. But if you're an occupational therapist or a doctor, don't ask the redneck to squeeze your hand. Just don't do it. Page 2 is question 5. What's the most interesting website you visited in the last week? I don't visit a lot of websites, so it's kind of hard to say. I usually visit financial websites, things that have to do with our banking, and it's really the same old, so they're not interesting. It just gives me the information that I need, like what my balance is, what available credit I may have, when the next payment is due, that type of thing. And it's just nothing really interesting, except for if I were to say an interesting website. I often visit Netflix and watch different things like My Little Pony, and I better read this one because I'm going to get it wrong if I say it. It's Hotel Transylvania 2. Now that makes me bawl like a baby, and I keep saying Vampire Hotel, but it's Hotel Transylvania 2, which is on Netflix. It's a cute little movie. It's just wonderful. It makes me want to cry every time, even more so now that I've had this stroke. It's very cute though, and you see this great vampire kicking butt. Anyway, so if you want, if you want happy tears, watch that movie. It's not sad tears, it's happy tears for that movie. It's one of those things where the good guy triumphs, and when that happens, it kind of gets me all choked up, and more so. Spring, summer, autumn, winter. This is number 6. Spring, summer, autumn, winter. Which season are you and why? I don't know which season I am. It's like, if you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be? Well, I don't know what kind of tree I would be, or whatever. And that comes from back in the days when I was taking media arts, and everybody seemed to take on these more artsy kind of things, and I'm a technical person. So it's hard to say, if you were a season, what season would you be? But if I were a season, I would want to be spring. Spring is a time of new beginnings, beautiful flowers. Here in Texas, you have wonderful, beautiful wildflowers like the blue bonnets, the Indian blankets, the Indian paintbrushes. They're just beautiful. And it's a time of fresh fruits and wonderful berries and that type of thing. It's just wonderful. And if I were a season, that's what I would want to be. I don't know what kind I actually am. You lose sight of things, and when you travel, everything balances out. That's a quote by Gidal Dharana, I guess it's supposed to be. I can't pronounce it. Don't quote me on that. Would you agree with that statement? Explain why or why not. Well, travel kind of opens your mind to different things. Maybe you've gotten into the same old, and you're used to seeing things from one perspective. But if you travel to foreign countries where people don't have it as good as we have it here in the United States, you see, hey, these people have to struggle just to survive. Or maybe you go to some nice place where it's just luxurious all the way around, where you walk in, you're pampered, and you see how the other half live. If you're used to working your tail off for a living, and then you go and you see being pampered. So it kind of gives you a different perspective of things. Maybe it helps you chillax, as Rainbow Dash says in My Little Pony. Chillax is a good thing because you chill out and you relax at the same time. So travel can be enlightening, can be eye-opening, but it's not necessarily one of the things that you would want to do if you are more of a hands-on kind of person. If you're used to being able to have control over everything around you, and then you're in a completely different environment, you don't know how to react. So, it's kind of a good thing or a bad thing. Okay, my own random thought. Okay, well, my random thought, I'm starting week 2 after my stroke, and we're just getting better, getting to where I talk a little bit better. I never was able actually to hold a thought for very long, so I can't really go by that. More likely in a conversation to jump from one spot to another, which I've done for quite some time. Other random thoughts, just getting better and better. Remember, our daughter's 21st birthday is June the 26th of this month. So remember that the books will be free. Don't pay for them. Get them free on June the 26th, our daughter's 21st birthday. All 3 books will be free. Check the sidebar. I don't even know which direction to point to for the correct sidebar, because I'm watching this in a monitor that's got everything backwards from what it really is. And so just check on the sidebar. It should be the, if you're facing the screen, should be to your right. So I'm going to say to the right and be all messed up. Anyway, it's just hard to tell when you're looking in the monitor backwards. Which is right, but look in our sidebar. On June the 26th, all the books will be free. All of our books will be free. Also, if you kind of help us out, we've had to change things here because of this stroke. We're no longer able to sell the Avon belly to belly, door to door, that kind of thing, but we do have where you can purchase Avon. If you're looking to buy Avon, purchase it through our links for our websites, where you can purchase it, get it shipped directly to you, and we'll get credit for it. Also visit our Etsy store. That will help, because we're no longer able to do our mobile notary or our business consulting or any of the other things, because it's just I can't get around very well. It's hard for me to walk. It's hard for me to hold a thought. And so business consulting and those other businesses that we were doing are more and more difficult. Suzanne's still doing the Etsy. I'm doing what knitting I can. It's still kind of difficult to hold a crochet hook or knitting needle, or, well, I don't crochet, but I try to knit with the loom. It's still kind of difficult for that, but we're getting there. Anyway, so remember, life is short. Live it to the fullest. Eat right. Avoid salt. Avoid cholesterol. Kiss someone. Hug someone that you love. Let them know that you love them. Make those recordings that you've been meaning to make. Write down those different things. Get the family record out there for people coming along behind us. Share it with the future generations. Let all your future downline know that you know what life was like for you. To all my kids, I love you, and I'm glad to be back up and running again. And to my beautiful child bride Suzanne, I love you, and I'm glad to be up and running again. But just let your friends and family and loved ones know that you love them, that you care, and portray the family history to them. Communicate it if you can. Thank you for joining us again. We'll see you again next week, either in video or just on the blog post itself. I don't know. I'm going to try to continue making these blog posts as often as possible to get some of this family history out there so everybody can see it. Remember our books. Help our family by making those purchases that you were going to purchase through Amazon anyway, by coming to our blog post and then going to Amazon. It'll help us, and at the same point in time, you'll be able to find good things through Amazon. Thank you so much, and you have a great day. This is a Federal Trade Commission required notice. When you click on an advertisement that is displayed with this video, or just before it, we receive a small commission. Sometimes, if you merely watch an ad, we receive commission. If you purchase anything by clicking on links on any of our websites, we receive a commission as well. McClendon Studios is a participant in the Amazon Services LLC Associates Program, an affiliate advertising program designed to provide a means for sites to earn advertising fees by advertising and linking to Amazon.
We have a new book. Many people want to know if homeschooling will work for them. This book may help you answer that question. You can find it on Amazon.com. Suzanne has written a great book of poetry. It is called Shattered. You can find it on Amazon.com.